So today I'm in Richmond, which is in North Yorkshire, and I'm currently at Richmond Castle, which was actually built about 1,000 years ago by Alan Rufus, who is the cousin of William the Conqueror. So this is where we are now. So we're just going to have a little bit of an explore around here and show you all around the castle and all the little bits of interest. So if you want to see the castle, as always, get your shoes on, get your coat on, and let's have a little bit of an explore. So as you can see, the surrounding walls here, and you can see the remnants of where the castle used to be in places. There's a tower there with a pride flag. We might be able to get in there, hopefully climb to the top and get a decent view of the surrounding areas. But there's little bits you can go in. There's a little place there, we'll go in a minute. And there's a bit over here we can explore as well. You can go inside and you can actually see a 1,000-year-old toilet here, a latrine, which is basically just a hole in the ground from the 11th century. Let's have a little look inside. So that's a toilet. Not very comfortable, is it? Anyway, we'll go over here and explore over here, and I'll show you what's over here. Let's go. So as I say, this was built 1,000 years ago by Alan Rufus. I think he's doing a good job. So this here is called Scullen's Hall, and around about the 11th century this would have been used for storage, possibly for wine. Now on the floor there's two stones here and there's one down there, and these were actually used for huge posts in the ground to house the upper floor. Now if you can see around here there's halls. These would have been used for the actual beams themselves to go across to have that second floor in. But it is quite a large space here just to have wine. But I guess in the 11th century they didn't have TVs, so they just had a few vinos. But when you walk around these places, you just want to see how it was back in the day, kind of get a glimpse of people in here. And obviously in the castle itself, see it busy back in those times, just to see what they used to do. See the life they had. Well, I think what we're going to do now is we're just going to go up here and get a bit higher and hopefully see some nice views. So let's go. So here we have this is actually a chapel. This was actually built in the 13th and 14th centuries, and if you look up on the south wall here, there is actually a holy water basin, and next to it a squint, which is the narrow window, provided a view of the altar from the room next door, which is just in here. But yeah, we're just going to go around here and go up there and have a little explore up there now. So before we go up and explore higher up, I'm just going to take you down to what's called the Cockpit Gardens. And it's just down these stairs here and just down this little alleyway here. So let's go and have a look at Cockpit Gardens, shall we? So here I am in Cockpit Gardens. And between the 11th and 14th century, this was used as a place for peace and serenity and seclusion, and also it was used during the time of the the Saints' Day in April, where women would come with their children and make sort of garments for the actual event itself. But between those times, it was also used for feasts, musical events, but also blood sports such as bear baiting and hunting. So it was a bit of a mix of peace and seclusion and brutality, but I guess that's what happened in those times. But it's just surrounded by the castle wall. It looks really nice. The sun's sort of shining down, and there is a bit of a breeze, so hopefully you can hear me. The wind keeps blasting every now and then. But yeah, you can just really think that back in the 11th to the 14th century, the things that would have happened upon this little hill here. People relaxing, or worse. But yeah, I guess that's what happened in castles. But we're just going to have a bit of a wander around, go in all the different little rooms and just a bit of exploring really. So yeah, stay tuned. Just found a nice little bench up here where I can just sit and check out the scenery. Oh, hello. Not an amazing view, it's still nice, but I think there are better views around the other side. But yeah, you can just sit and check out the little view there. So as you can see down there, that was Scotland's Hall, that was in a minute ago, and this is just a bit higher up. This is called the Gold Hall Tower. If you look out here, you'll see Scotland Hall. So I was just walking on there. There's the two stones for the post, and you can, as I said earlier, where the beams were put in, and a central beam there to make that upper floor. But as you can see, you get some beautiful views down here, or even up here. So this little room here that you can see just behind this door was called Gold Hall Tower. Now Gold Hall Tower sounds impressive, it sounds expensive, gold, but it's not what you seem or what you think it is. In here houses the private latrine for the castle room above. So basically Gold Hall Tower is a toilet. Nice. With a bird in it. I don't know if you can see in it, I'll show you and see if you can see inside, but you might see an 11th century poop. So unfortunately you can't really get a decent view, but it goes down for quite some depth, and obviously up there would have been where the room was, and some king or whoever resided here in the 11th century onwards would have sat up there, and well, you know the rest of the story. So we're actually in a buttery at the moment. That would have stored butter and things like that, but it would have also stored drinks like beer and wine and things like that for the feasts and events they would have had at the castle itself. But it also had an upper floor, as you can see the windows above here, and that would have been for the pantry. Now that would have stored breads, it would have also stored venison, wildfowl and things like that for basically making pies and actual food for the feasts themselves. But you can sort of get an idea of the actual space of storage here as well. So they had a huge amount of space for obviously the drinks and obviously the butters and breads and meats and things like that, as well as Scotland's Hall, which is sort of behind me, which has stored the wine. So they didn't go spare, but also this had to serve the entire castle itself, so you needed a lot of space for a lot of food because they ate loads. But yeah, we're just going to venture around, go around the walls, see what else is here, and there's a tower that I showed you earlier with the pride flag on top. We're going to go in there, head up to the top, and hopefully have a decent 360 around there. So yeah, stay tuned and you'll see that. Let's go. So when we walked around, you can obviously see the little squares in the stone here. That would have been for the beams, so obviously there would have been another level here. There's remnants of the wall, the outer wall here, but there's little sort of entrances, little places here. That one doesn't actually lead anywhere. This one here, you can see where the bars are there. There's a little bit of a higher up place, so I'm guessing that's a little sort of hallway, walkway. It seems to go higher up here, but then as you can see in there, there's no way of going through, so I don't know if it goes up to that level there, up to where that is there. But there's a few little dotted around. It would have been nice. It'd be nice to get up there and see exactly what these were used for. Here's another one. I don't know if I can get up here. It's quite steep. I can. But this would have led up here. This might be give me a better idea of exactly where this would have gone. to a window. Strange. So as you can see, there's no actually, unless it was building out there, but a little archway here, but it just leads to a wall. So I wonder what this used to be. If you know, let us know in the comments. But it seems to just lead out to this window itself, unless this was where arches may be, but it's a bit exposed. Or it might have just been a lookout, I don't know. But if you know, let us know. Right, back down there now. So I'm here in St Nicholas's Chapel. It was built around about the late 11th century and it's part of Robin Hood Tower itself. And yeah, it was just been a little place of worship. You can see the little sort of archways which may have held candles or effigies of Christ or Mary. There are some graffiti on the walls, but I don't think it's from the 11th century because I don't think Tina Loves Steve was around in the 11th century. It would have been Mary. But yeah, some nice views, and the window here would have had some stained glass window, like glass in it, and that would have been from the 16th century, and it would have actually been imported from Germany, and it would look really nice, the sun gazing into here. But I'll show you the views as well out here. It's a small chapel, but I'm guessing it would have just had a few people in at a time. We're going to venture forth. There's a huge tower that we want to go and see. So we're going to go and explore that, and also just have a little bit of look around the walls themselves, and then venture back into Richmond town centre and just have a little bit of a mooch. So let's go. So here is the well of the castle. The well was a source of water in the castle. It was inexpensive to build and maintain, but for an aristocrat household, it was important to have a secluded well away from the bustle and obviously the dirt of the town itself. The well water was generally hygienic and clean and safe for medieval consumption, but many, and the wealthy especially, decided rather than drinking the well water, they would drink ale and wine instead. But obviously this was used for drinking water, and I think it was also used for obviously washing out the urinals around the castle itself. So there's just the well there, but as I angle the camera around, you can actually see the different floors of the castle itself. I'm guessing those little walkways eventually went up to those points there. There's like a wooden door there that would have led out to another sort of section, but then you can see up there's another little area up there. I'm not entirely sure what that would have been used for. Hopefully I can find out online and put it in the put it below. But we're just going to venture around the walls and just see what else there is before we go in the tower. So the building you can see behind me, which is sort of demolished a little bit, used to be the military and married quarters. Now in 1854 the government decided to build barracks here for the married men of the obviously the military. And their sort of barracks consisted of 4 rooms and a toilet, and so yeah, so this was built in 1854, and it was sort of built in keeping with the rest of the castle, so it kind of looked like part of the castle rather than something that was built sort of a lot later on. But then sort of around about I think it was 1908 to 1910, Robert Baden-Powell actually sort of stayed here in the barracks himself. And he was the one that actually sort of created the Boy Scouts. So there's a little bit of a fact for you. But unfortunately it's sort of crumbled down, and it's you can't really see much of it now, which is a shame. It would have been nice to go and see all the rooms and things, but as you can see, it's fallen to bits. But yeah, we're just going to head now over to the Great Tower, which is over there somewhere, and go and check that out. So let's go and have a look at that, shall we? So this is the Great Tower. This iconic and expensive tower was actually added in the 12th century. It was built over the original castle entrance, and it's symbolising the prestige of the honour of Richmond, and it provided a spectacular venue for business and formal receptions. So there's just a walkway going all the way up to the next level, as well as several pigeons. Let's go up. So it's quite dark in this little stairwell, but hopefully you can sort of see bits. This is where we just were, the lower section. But obviously you need to, as the sign says, mind your head. It's quite low. I'm guessing people back in the 11th century were about 3 foot tall. And as you can see, there's light above. It takes you up to the next section. So just in here, there's like a little room with a little window in it. As you can see, there's graffiti from 1926 there and 2012. But just a little room. I'm not too, this might be for storage. A nice little window with a bit of a view and looking down at a man's head. Another little room here with a wider window with another view. And this just goes out. There's a stairwell going up there to another level, and you come down out of here, and obviously you can see the better views of the western part of the castle. That's where the barracks were that I was telling you before. And that's over where the Scullins Hall and the garden are. But up here, as you can see, you can get a better view of the entire place. So I'll let you appreciate that. Hopefully you can hear me because it's quite windy up here, yeah, this is just a nice little vantage point just to see all the way around Richmond area, and obviously the castle that we've been to see over in Scullins Hall, and obviously the western part where the barracks were, which I mentioned a moment ago. But we're just going to head into this doorway here that we just come out of. There's a stairwell heading up, so let's go and check more out, shall we? So here we are going up the next set of stairs. The narrow slit windows, which then lead into this giant room. This great room was the centre of power for the honour of Richmond, and it was a gathering place for most influential people. The rulers of Richmond Castle sat here as they oversaw the vast estate, hearing complaints, settling arguments and giving gifts of land. Continue. So each room we go into, there's a little sort of other room splintering off. This might be too dark in here. I think this is just a place for pigeons to chill out. Hello. But there's, let's see, there's more light over here. There's just another little room. I don't know what these rooms would have actually been used for because they're quite small. But they've all got nice views. And again, there's a room over here. I'm guessing this will have another little window and another view of the surrounding area. It does. A couple of windows, very small. But again, lovely North Yorkshire countryside. It seems to have these little rooms, and they're very small, so I don't know if they're used for storage or they actually had served some sort of a purpose. If you know what these little small rooms were for, let us know in the comments. Let's go forth and see if we can get higher up. Right, you continue up here. Again, more windows with nice views out, and I think there's a few stairs. Oh, good God. There's a few stairs going up, as you can see.
One eternity later.
Even more stairs. So here's a view of the marketplace. This is where we started the video, just sort of around that area. And yeah, back in the late 11th century, you would have seen like a marketplace here, the Friars Ween back in the medieval sort of times, and then sort of maybe Greyfriars area. The Chapel of Holy Trinity would have actually been down there as well, but now it's called the Green Howard's Museum, which is sort of basically where that flag is. And yeah, just sort of medieval, sort of other bits and pieces around here. But this is the very top of the tower. There's a little section over there. We'll work our way around. So there's quite a few signs here saying mind your head. I'm 6 foot and I keep whacking the top of my head off it. As you can see, it's quite it's about 5.5 foot maybe. But this little view here is the lowlands. Back over that sort of direction there used to be the old railway station. The location of the St Mary's Priory was sort of over around there, and then there was the Abbey that was sort of over there, which is sadly no longer there. Just going to venture around here. Hopefully you can hear me. It's a bit windy up here. Again, these low bits. That's where we were not so long ago. Earl's Orchard, and then there's the road to Middleham Castle over there, and then there's a site of a medieval bridge over that way, which unfortunately you can't see because of the trees. We're just going to head up to this tall bit here where the pride flag is. So this was the keeper of the Earl's Hawks and Hounds. More stairs. So this is probably the highest point of the actual tower itself. Just being careful that I don't go over there. Some more of the uplands. And over there, I don't know if you can see on camera, it's called Culden's Tower. And that was built around about 1746. And there used to be a medieval hunting forest which I'm guessing might be that bit over there. Yeah, it's quite high up. That down there is just the roof of the great hall we're in a moment ago. Right, I'm going to make my way back over here, round and down. So that was it. That was Richmond Castle. We've just come down from the tower itself, the Great Tower, and it was a great experience. If you've been before, let us know in the comments and let me know what you thought of it. I think it was fantastic, just seeing all the different rooms and the information that sort of told you what happened in from the butteries, the pantries, obviously Scholars Hall, and obviously the Great Tower itself. So yeah, if you've liked this video, give us a thumbs up and subscribe. I've got more videos coming out every Saturday, so yeah, hopefully we'll see you next time. So take care of yourself and bye bye.